I've said several times in many of my videos about Hell of a Boss and Hazbin Hotel that I get really frustrated that to get answers to basic world building questions, we often have to go to supplemental material like live streams or convention panels or even social media posts from the creators themselves. One of the questions I've been asking from the very beginning of Hazbin Hotel is how death works in the show, and I never really feel like I get an answer from the show itself. But we sure get one from a live stream from Artism podcast, first recorded in November of 2018, a whole year before the pilot aired.
I got a question for you. In Hazbin Hotel, when a character dies, they're already in hell. Yes. Where do they go from there?
In terms of like what happens, they can die. There is a final death. It kind of reminds me, obviously way before I saw the movie, but they kind of do something similar is like in Coco, you know, where there's like kind of that final death. Yeah. It's kind of just the nothingness.
Yeah. Their soul just ceases to exist.
Yeah, it kind of almost becomes like this, you know, when they die, it almost like their blood and their soul remnants kind of seeps into the ground and just becomes like part of the foundation of like this evil energy and hell. You know, Vaggie says something like, "I'm going to kill you," and he's like, "You know, what's going to happen? Am I going to go to double hell?" Even they don't really know. Even the characters that are already like in heaven or hell, they don't know. Nobody knows what happens after.
The one person that should know is the one that created the show, and this just sounds like Vivziepop has no clue. Feels like she's just making it up when she's asked the question. And I feel this is a reoccurring thing even when she's answering questions on social media as well. Now, I'm not saying that I need a character to drop everything they're doing and spout expositional dialogue to explain how the world works or anything. The point of supplemental material is that it's provided in addition to what is already present or available to complete or enhance it. It's meant to enhance understanding or provide context to a primary piece of information. In other words, to understand a story, you don't have to go to read the supplemental material. It's there, but you don't have to read it to comprehend the story. It would be like if J.R. Tolkien was still alive and they insisted on everyone reading the Silmarillion before watching the movies or reading the books for Lord of the Rings. It's supplemental for a reason, guys, because the Lord of the Rings books and movies are believable enough without having to read the supplemental material. And yes, I know it's ridiculous to mention Vivzie Pop and J.R.R. Tolkien in the same video, but here we are. Basically what I'm saying is that if the story and world building in Hell of a Boss and Hazbin Hotel was clearer, we wouldn't have to go and dig into supplemental material for answers, and we definitely should be able to fully understand how the world works if the visual storytelling is done coherently. I'm not looking for realism, I'm looking for believability. Hazbin Hotel's characters seem to have no clue about how their world works, how souls get to heaven in the first place, and the rules of the world are broken before the rules themselves are even friggin' established. There are inconsistencies within the story all over the place, one of them being about how none of the characters knew that angelic weapons could hurt angels until an angel was killed by Carmilla, even though Vaggie literally had her eye gouged out by an angelic spear.
Did you know angels could be harmed?
No.
Wow. What a hole.
Vivzie Pop made a tweet dressing the plot hole of Vaggie not knowing that angelic weapons could hurt angels in spite being hurt by an angelic weapon herself. What we were trying to imply in season 1 was that Vaggie knew angels could hurt her, but heaven was too self-focused to realize their own rules could apply broadly and be used against them. You can still see it as a mistake totally, but that was what we were going for. Laughing face, I keep seeing memes. This post was made in October 2025, weeks before season 2 was posted onto Amazon Prime Video. It's very possible that Vaggie lied to Carmilla about knowing that angels could be hurt, but that was not what was conveyed in this show. I don't know, it just feels like she's trying to make others feel bad for even pointing out this plot hole instead of actually addressing the plot hole and taking accountability for the mistake they made. If a creator has to explain basic things about their creation during a convention, a post on social media, or during a live stream, then they have failed in their endeavor of telling a story in the first place. I don't think pointing out that Vivziepop uses social media as a way to fix the writing in the show after it's been released makes me a hater. I'm simply pointing out that in my opinion, this is not how you tell a story, and is definitely not, in my opinion, how you should interact with your fan base. Look, I'm a very passionate person, but I'm also a very cynical one, and that is something that I am working on. But when you're telling a story through the visual medium, a lot of the questions you have should be answered in the visuals at some point. But sometimes, yes, the world building in the show is there, but it's often portrayed in a blink and you'll miss it moment. But it's also a concern that a lot of the answers to the questions actually come from fans formulating fan theories on how this world works. There's a lot of fan projection as well as to where the story is going that I often feel, because it's shared on social media with the creators, that it might have had an influence on how the show is written. It definitely feels like the writers of the show are pandering toward the fans and giving them what they want instead of, you know, telling a coherent story. This is all opinionated, of course, and I don't mean any ill will toward anyone involved in the show. This is a critique video, not a hate video, so please understand the difference. Hazbin Hotel, technically speaking, is an independent show that has become mainstream. And because of its beginnings, the creator or creators of the show often become accountable for their behavior in how they conduct themselves when interacting with their fanbase, as well as how they publicize their creations. With social media, fans are connected to the creators of their favorite shows now more than ever, to the point that parasocial connections are becoming blurred. And it's also hard to analyze this show without diving into fan theories, or finding it very difficult to differentiate between fan theory and what is canon, because a lot of fan theories are shared with Vivziepop herself and she confirms them to be true, or is asked a question at a convention or during a live stream and her response feels like it's being made up on the spot, in my personal opinion, and then that results in some inconsistencies within the show and what she says. But what are your thoughts about Vaggie not knowing that angels could be hurt by angelic weapons? Or if there's any other plot holes that you've noticed in the show, let me know in the comments below. I'm Mad Munchkin, stay creative.